Hey everybody, Scotty G here today with my good buddy Nathan from the Springs. And we're going to talk about all the cool new gear that came out in 2025 and what some of our favorite products are.
That being said, in the world of headphones.
Great year for headphones.
Oh my God, we talked about headphones not too long ago, actually. Yeah, and I love headphones, but they get cooler every year. Let's see, what obviously you've got some of the usual suspects. What's something that's caught your eye that's come out?
You know, it is back to the historic guys. You know, as a young fella, I had a pair of Cost Pro 4 AAAs, which were big and bulky and uncomfortable on my head. Mm-hmm. And when I first started selling hi-fi, one of the coolest headphones we sold at that time was from a company called Sennheiser.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I've sold Sennheiser, ever since. So 40 plus years of selling Sennheiser. They've recently come out with a new headphone called the HD 550.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, not a lot of money for a headphone. Easy to drive. If you wanted to hardwire it onto your phone, you could. Mm-hmm. Computer, you could. Run it off your stereo system, no problem. But just real comfortable.
Yeah.
And that classic Sennheiser sound.
Yeah.
These brands have their own characteristical sound to them. And Sennheiser's always been something that appealed to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's another company that is in the pro audio world. So they're used to making reference gear. And I've talked to a lot of people that have had a lot of Sennheisers in the past, and they keep on coming back to it. They love the sound of that. Kind of adjacent to that, I think another speaker company that's made really good headphones for a long time now and continues to do so is Bowers and Wilkins. Yeah. The PX and PI series, they're constantly updating, and as happy as I am with one generation, the next generation's always better.
They get better.
They get better every time. So the Px8 S2, not just regular Px8, again, huge improvement. Definitely a Bluetooth headphone. It's designed for being on the go. But detailed, and I think that's something that everyone's looking for when it comes to Bluetooth headphones is how do I not just make it smooth, but keep all of that detail without any sort of harshness. And that's what Bowers has done really well for a long time. So the Px8 S2s, if you do a lot of listening on the go, you need to get your ears on those. No one has been disappointed with those thus far. So.
It's their best headphone. I like how they sit on your ear as opposed to like over your ears, so you can hear things around you.
Yeah, they're not obtrusive. Yeah.
And they're nice looking.
Yeah, they definitely fashion forward. I will say subtly fashion forward. So, Meze's been definitely. We've talked about them quite a bit. They've come out with really good headphones across the whole range. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to say about anything that they've released?
They've just come out with a headphone called the Audio POET. Again, Meze. For me, they're a newer company.
Yeah.
Audio-Z, Meze. But so far, everything that I've heard and we've put in the store from Meze has been just another great solution, another great option for you guys if you're looking for nice headphones. The Audio POET, same kind of thing. Real comfortable.
Yeah.
Sound great.
Now those I believe are an open back, and we talked a lot about open back versus closed back in our last video. So that's something to keep in mind. And it's not your traditional dynamic transducer. It's a planar magnetic, and I played with a lot of Meze's planar magnetics, and you got to give those power. That is not an on-the-go headphone whatsoever, but they're gorgeous. They look really good. They sound really good too.
Yeah.
But on the other end of those, because those are, I think, around $2,000, I think, for the pair.
They're above. Sure.
Definitely on the higher end for headphones, not absurd for high-end headphones. But again, not a casual buy either. But the 99s, specifically the version 2 of those, I mean, for the price,
Yeah.
those are outstanding. More of the dynamic enclosed back, but man, they look really good. They look really, really good. They're comfortable on the head, but as far as getting into headphone listening, the 99s are just, they've been proven to be a great solution over and over again. So very, very clear. I like listening to classical on my headphones quite a bit. There's a lot of dynamics and it gets really quiet, and they retain a lot of that detail. So I've definitely liked those quite a bit. What else is new? We talked a little bit about Audio-Technica earlier in regards to the turntable.
Yeah.
But you can't just talk about Audio-Technica and not bring up their headphones.
They got awesome headphones.
So the 7000s, that's a dynamic open back as well. Have you heard those?
I have. They're awesome. I mean, I say awesome a lot, but it's a good term for hi-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 7000s, you know, it's probably Audio-Technica's best headphone ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, which, you know, some people might argue some of the older headphones have a classic sound to them, but, you know, here's a situation where they've elevated their game, and I think wanted to come out with something that, you know, marked their spot on the playing field.
Yeah. We had an Audio-Technica event earlier this year. If you remember, that was a blast. You gave quite the rundown in one of the listening rooms, and was super educational. I think everybody really benefited from that. But while our Audio-Technica rep was here, he told me about these coming out.
Yeah.
And he said it's been hard for them to reach the level of the 7000. It required a lot of time. But again, one of those headphones where you don't want to shirk on the power whatsoever. You know, I think the biggest thing for me when I heard these is you can drive them on just about anything, but if you get a good headphone amp with good power, bass is one thing that is more difficult for these headphones to drive, but they are ultra detailed. Like every little sound that might be in that recording is coming at you, which to me just shows how responsive they are, and really good. But you know, I played with that with some solid state and some tube solutions. I think I liked tubes on these a little bit more just because they gave it a little bit more warmth and richness. Yeah. But I mean, I put these on like the Rotel DX3 and was very happy with them. It really rounded out those headphones. So.